Hey y'all. It's been a few days since I've done a video, and kind of just been keeping an eye on the stuff going on in the Middle East, and sure enough, things didn't die down, and they just seem to be escalating. I think today, some group probably in Lebanon fired some trajectories at Israel for like the third time, I think, in the last week or so. But this time, actually, they landed in Israel. So that's going to add a kink to the situation. It'll be interesting to see what comes of that and who's behind it and what Israel decides to do. At this point, with the world focus, what can I say? Bible spelled it out. It seems more and more people are, against Israel and expecting Israel to die down without seeing that Israel was provoked. And they're just trying to defend themselves and take out a thorn in their flesh, or a thorn in their side that has been there for a long time, and trying just to either A, set it years back, or B, remove it completely. I don't think it'll be removed. I think eventually some sort of ceasefire is probably going to come to play. With this Lebanon thing, be interesting to see what comes from that. A few different ways that could play out. Either way, we are seeing the stage get set, especially with Turkey and Russia. They're in cahoots trying to figure out, how to deter Israel, maybe coming together, which is setting up for Ezekiel 38, Gog and Magog. So it's just interesting times to see what's going on and watching what's happening. Another thing I'm really interested in seeing is on 26th, the super flower blood moon, I think that's happening. I'm interested to see what comes of that, whether it's God's way of signaling something going to happen in the physical world on earth, or if it's signaling something supernatural. I have no idea, but I don't think it's an accident that is happening on the 26th in the way that it's happening. So I'm interested to see about that. So those are the things I've been keeping an eye on, why I haven't exactly been, active. I've just kind of been like a lot of people and just watching, seeing what's happening. I did have a couple of things that happened to me that I wanted to share, as they were encouragement to me. So family members let me know, I think it was on Saturday, some stuff that they're going through and they're trying to get answers for. And everybody knows my wife, she's home, by the way. Thank you for the prayers. We just are no better than we were before, still no answers, and looking at maybe having to look out of state for a specialist. So we'll see. But anyways, with all this coming up, I kind of went to go get dinner for us, and as I was driving, I just kind of was like, God, how much more? There's a lot of people that are suffering, and there's a lot going on, and a lot of Christians are weary, they're tired. I'm tired. I'm worn out, emotionally, mentally. I'm just exhausted. I realized today I haven't actually gone on a vacation to decompress and just chill for probably over a year. I've taken a lot of time off work, but it's been to support my wife, and that's not real relaxing. But I was just kind of like, everybody's just exhausted. How much longer are we going to have to wait? And as I was driving, it's the weirdest thing. I don't know how to explain this other than, the only way I know how. And I hope you guys can understand what I'm trying to say. But as I was driving, I was looking in front of me, all of a sudden, not with my physical eyes, but my physical eyes were looking ahead. I could see the entire scenery, the road, the horizon, the buildings, everything in front of me, cars and everything. But in my mind's eye, kind of overlapping, I just saw this hand reach down and fingers kind of go into the ground, what appeared to look, kind of basically what I figured was going into the ground, and then kind of just do a little cup like this, right? With this part in the more like in the clouds, and then this part, down below the ground. I have no idea what it was. I'm not gonna say a vision or anything like that. It's just in my mind's eye, I could clearly, distinctly see it, even though my physical eyes could not. What that is, I don't know what to call it. I'm just saying, describing how I saw it. But anyways, and I immediately just got this feeling of, if I've got what you see in my hands, and I've got everything else. And for like the entire time I went to go get dinner, and my entire drive back, it didn't matter where I looked. I just, in my mind's eye, I saw this hand. Just I look this way, it's that way. Look this way, it's that way. And I just kind of felt a lot easier to say, knowing that everything is in God's hands. If everything before me is in God's hands, then aren't my family, isn't my wife, isn't my job, isn't everything in God's hands, isn't my friends, their issues, their things that they're going through with COVID, aren't they in his hands? Everything is in God's hands. And it just got a lot more peaceful at that. Still no answers, but it was a reminder that God has everything in his hands. And while we're exhausted and kind of getting toward the point that we're tired of waiting and just want everything to happen already, especially with seeing everything going on in the Middle East, and knowing that, at this point, other than maybe Ezekiel 38, kicking off, before my phone overheats, besides maybe Ezekiel kicking off right before or at the same time, or however it's going to play out, because the Bible doesn't pinpoint it, at least not that I understand, and nobody else seems to understand. Short of that maybe overlapping, the rapture's and pretty much next, everything else. So regardless, everything is in God's hands, and that's kind of what I wanted to share, with whatever it was that I saw. Then the other thing I thought was really interesting, I was driving into work 2 days ago, and then right before me, I think it had to be a meteor, just kind of streaked, kind of like this down, and then disappeared in kind of like a flash, probably no more than maybe a few hundred feet in the air. Thought that, and I kept looking around, and I was like, well, there's nothing else. That's kind of odd. I didn't see any other streaks of light, nothing like that. I went online, I looked, there was no meteor shower anticipated. There's nothing going by for a meteor shower per se. It's just this one little thing came streaking across right as I was driving down the path, just enough time to see it. So I thought that was really interesting. Still have no idea what that was about. But I just wanted to come on here. I wanted to share, what I saw and encourage you guys, that as we wait, to remember that God still has everything in his hands. He's still in control. Everything that's going on in the Middle East, he's got it under control. Our country, that just seems to be going down the drain every day, worse and worse. God's still got our country, within the bounds of what he allows or doesn't allow. Nothing's happening that's catching him by surprise, and he's 100% in control. So yeah, I just kind of want to encourage you guys. I know I needed that the other day, and if I needed it, I'm sure somebody else out there probably needs it as well. So that's my encouragement. God is still in control, and let's keep praying for Israel, keep praying for peace, for God's protection, and for their future continued success. That is God's chosen country. So, as always, if we're still here, I'll see you on the next video.